name is Katie Gunter. I am the nutrition educator at Philabundance. I'm also a registered dietitian. So what I do at Philabundance is I work closely with our agency partners in the community implementing a program called the Healthy Pantry Initiative through Feeding PA and the Department of Health, where I help educate pantry staff, volunteers, and guests on how to eat healthy, make healthier decisions, and fun things like that. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Philabundance, Philabundance's mission is to drive hunger from our communities today, as well as ending hunger for good. We service 9 counties total, 5 in Pennsylvania, which include Bucks, Chester, Delaware, Montgomery, and Philadelphia counties, as well as 4 counties in southern New Jersey, Burlington County, Camden, Gloucester, and Salem. Philabundance provides food to more than 350 agency partners, and these include shelters, emergency kitchens, senior centers, as well as at locations where people access other services, including hospitals, libraries, and schools. So since the pandemic started back in, really took off in March 2020, our agencies who work with Philabundance have reported a 60% increase in the number of people that we serve, or they serve, excuse me, and 40% are people who reported using the emergency food system for the first time. So our work is very important in the community, and we couldn't do it without your help. So thank you so much for everything. So as Todd said, the recipe is in the chat if you would like to follow along or save it for later on to try. The recipe I'm going to be making today is a buffalo chickpea wrap. So I'll start by just showing a few ingredients and then we'll get started. So the ingredients, as you can see, are olive oil, which I have right here. We use chickpeas right here, garlic powder, I have some here, a pinch of salt, some buffalo sauce, and ranch or blue cheese. I prefer ranch over blue cheese, so I went with the light ranch to save some on some fat. And then as well as the tortilla to wrap it all together, I went with a whole wheat tortilla that provides more fiber than your traditional white flour tortilla does, which we'll dive into a little bit more as we keep going. So just some fun facts for you. I'm going to go ahead get started on these chickpeas as they are the forefront of the recipe. So the recipe calls for 1 can of chickpeas. These are a great source of protein. You might have heard them called garbanzo beans as well. They're actually classified as a legume. And some great benefits of eating chickpeas is that, one, it's a great source of plant-based protein. So for those who are vegetarian or vegan or looking for a plant-based option, these are great. They promote cardiovascular health as these are cholesterol-free and a good source of polyunsaturated fats. And so polyunsaturated fats help control and reduce cholesterol levels, which in turn can help reduce your risk of developing heart disease. They are a good source of fiber as well, which helps control blood sugar for those with diabetes, which is great. So what we're going to do, just following on with the recipe, we're going to, first thing we're going to do is drain our chickpeas. So you want to save, I'm going to raise this up a little bit so you can see me. We're going to save the liquid that chickpeas are in. If you are unfamiliar, the liquid is called aquafaba, and it is commonly used as a replacement for egg whites in vegan recipes. So you can make vegan mayo with it. You can use it in baking. It's a really great ingredients to keep. So I drained my chickpeas and I'm going to keep the liquid so I can use it for another time. But in the meantime, I am going to rinse these before I cook them to remove any sodium that has been added during the canning process. Just run over here. Okay. So we got our chickpeas ready. before we add these into the pan, we need to put some olive oil in. The olive oil is, there's so many different cooking oils you can use, right? Olive oil, I'm sure you've heard of as being one of the best to cook with. It is composed of mainly monounsaturated fatty acids. These are largely resistant to heat, so it's good for pan frying at a higher temperature. And also olive oil is a good source of vitamin E and other antioxidants that help protect cells from damage caused by free radicals in the body. So I'm sure we're all familiar with olive oil. I'm going to go ahead and add a tablespoon to my pan and then turn on the heat. Turning it on to, like medium high to get that oil cooking. So there's other oils that you can use in replace of olive oil as well. You can use canola oil. I know avocado oil has been one that's been on the rise lately. It's very similar to olive oil. It just has a different taste. The taste of olive oil is a little bit more mild compared to the taste of avocado oil, and also the price is different as well. You can use, like I said, canola oil or vegetable oil or whatever you have available. I know a lot of pantries are starting to get the olive oil in, which is great if you are utilizing a food pantry to procure some of your ingredients. So I'm just going to check on this. It's still heating up a little bit. So once I add my chickpeas to the pan, I'm going to saute them for a couple minutes, and then we're going to add in the seasonings. All right. Just want to let that heat up a little bit. So what I'm using this buffalo sauce. I'm sure you can use lots of different sauces. If you don't like hot, you could try barbecue sauce. That might be a really great substitution. Or if you don't want sauce, you can, season it as you will with, garlic, onion. The possibilities are really endless. There's so many things that you can also do with chickpeas besides use them in this recipe as a filler for a wrap. You can roast them in the oven and they get kind of crispy and they're a good snack, or you can top them on top of a salad for that crunch. They make chickpea flour. So when I was saying how you can use the aquafaba for baking, you can also find chickpea flour for those who are gluten-free, and that is a great option as well. All right, so we're starting to heat up. I'm gonna go ahead and pour that in there. All right, so now we'll just watch the time, and these will start to cook. The outside will start to get a little crunchy. It's gonna be great. So once this cooks for a couple minutes, like I said, then I'm gonna add in some seasoning. It calls for a half teaspoon of garlic powder, which I have prepared in this little bowl here. But of course, if you prefer things to be seasoned more, you can adjust that as you will. Right. So while that cooks, just a little bit more information on chickpeas, just some of if you were to read the nutrition facts. 1 cup of chickpeas is about 270 calories. It provides 15 grams of protein. That is a very large source of protein. If you compare it to a chicken breast, a 3-ounce chicken breast, that's about 7 to 8 grams of protein. So this is great. For this recipe, we're using 15 ounces, and this is supposed to make 4 servings. So you can guess that 1 serving will be about 7 or 8 grams of protein, which is, like I said, just the same as as chicken. That's the size of your palm. So a cup of chickpeas also has 12.5 grams of fiber. Like I was saying, fiber helps to lower your blood sugar, or help keep your blood sugar lower by binding to the glucose as it flows through your body to help excrete it. See. We're almost there. Oh, yeah.
You have a few comments in the chat just saying, awesome. Talking about the chickpeas, the juice from the chickpeas. Talking about that's awesome tip. I will be saving that.
Awesome.
And that was from Brooke. And Megan said, so much fiber.
Yes, there's a great source of fiber. Thank you, Todd, for sharing those with me. Fiber, aside from blood sugar, fiber also helps with your fat, the amount of fat or cholesterol that you have in your blood as well. It also kind of binds to it and helps your body process out the excess. All right, so I'm gonna get ready to add in. Nice. So as far as nutrition goes, some other micronutrients that chickpeas have, they're a good source of calcium, of iron, magnesium, as well as potassium. I know with potassium, the common knowledge is that a banana is a great source, and if you need potassium, go grab a banana, but that's not always the case. Potatoes are also a great source of potassium. So there's lots of different places that you could look for potassium. And chickpeas are also naturally low in sodium, which makes them a great choice as well. And by rinsing them before cooking, we expelled any sodium that was added during the canning process, like I was saying. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and season this. I have my my half teaspoon of garlic powder in here. I'm just gonna sprinkle that in. It calls for a pinch of salt. What I recommend clients do is either pour a little bit of salt in your hand, or I'm just going to pour it in this little cup I have here. And then I'm going to literally pinch it. I don't want to just pour straight out of this container, especially one that's this size. You don't really know how much sodium you're adding, and I always like to be mindful of how much I am adding. So I'm just going to go ahead and pinch this. Sprinkle it on like that. And then I'm going to add in a 1/4 cup of buffalo sauce. And then we are just going to stir to combine. And then we're going to let this simmer for a couple of minutes to get, immerse everything in that flavor. I wish these Zoom meetings had smell vision. I wish you could smell this. The smell of the buffalo is really strong right now. So if you are a fan of spicy foods, this is perfect for you. There's so many different varieties of buffalo sauce or hot sauce that you can get and try. If you are adventurous, I'm sure you could go for a hotter sauce, whatever you prefer. So this recipe is great as a meal or as a snack. We want both our meals and our snacks to be balanced in that it's a source of protein and carbohydrates there. You think of protein and carbs as they work together. I heard somebody say once that you don't want to eat naked carbs because that will spike your blood sugar and then make it drop relatively quickly. So if you combine it with protein, it'll help your blood sugar kind of go out more of a rolling hill spike, which will help you feel better as well. So for this purpose, I'm making this for lunch. But let's say you have a kiddo who is in after school activities, or you just need a midday pick me up. This is a great source. You get a lot of your carbs from the whole wheat tortillas. For one tortilla, there's 25 grams of carbs, which is great. And 4 grams of protein. So combine the protein and carbs in this with the protein and carbs in the chickpeas. Together, that's very balanced and will help keep you full for longer, help your brain stay sharp, stay working. Our brain needs carbs to function, so we don't want to be afraid of carbs. 45 to 65% of your daily intake should come from carbohydrate sources. I know people are often scared of carbs or think carbs are bad, but it's really what our brain needs. So don't skimp on those. We would like our carbs to come from high quality sources, such as whole grain or whole wheat tortillas, whole grain pasta, brown rice, things like that, where the wheat germ hasn't been broken down as much. So you get more nutrients that way as well as the fiber that we were talking about. Fiber often gets shipped away during the refining process. All right, these are looking great. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn off my stove top. Let that, take it off the heat, let that sit for a minute. And now I'm gonna go ahead and prepare, get my tortilla ready. So one serving is, like I said, one tortilla. This one, I know this is a average size one. Sometimes they make them really big, so just keep that in mind. Pay attention to the nutrition facts label on here. It says a serving size is one tortilla. Sometimes if they're bigger, it might be, that ratio might change. So there's something to keep in mind. So what I'm going to do, I'll move this up here. Angle this a little. Okay. So I'm going to use my spoon and scoop a little bit on this tortilla. So remember, 1 can of chickpeas makes about 4 servings for the recipe. Right. So I got that. I'm going to top it with a little bit of ranch. Like I said earlier in the demo, I'm going with light ranch, although the taste might be a little different if you're used to, regular ranch. But it is 60% less fat compared to the original line, coming in at 5 grams of fat for a tablespoon. For 2 tablespoons, excuse me. And I'm only going to try to use 1. I'm just going to drizzle it lightly on top. I know whenever I have buffalo, especially wings or something, I need the ranch or I need the crudité vegetables to help with the heat, but I love the flavor. So feel free to use ranch or blue cheese, or if you have any other ideas for that. And then I'm going to go ahead and top it with some vegetables. I'm going to start with some shredded lettuce to give it some crunch, and also to help it. I find that it helps with the heat. And then I have some tomato as well, some chopped tomato. So there's so many ways that you can top this. If you are somebody who eats dairy, adding cheese to this would also be a great way to add more protein, as well as calcium. I was thinking adding rice to this might also be great if you were trying to create a full meal, just to get that carb content a little bit higher. Oh goodness, I wonder if I'll be able to roll this up. And then feel free to eat this however you want. Like I said, I'm gonna try to roll this up, make it into a wrap. This would be something that you could easily make ahead of time as a meal prep. Let me go ahead and pop this back up. So you can make these chickpeas ahead of time, season them, put the hot sauce on it, and then stick it in the refrigerator. And then it should last 4 to 5 days in the refrigerator. And then every day you can scoop some out and make your wrap or put them on your salad, like I said. So let's see how this is. Delicious. So
that's great. It looks awesome. I don't want you to have to try to talk while you're eating. So I jumped in. It looks awesome first. And Brooke also said that it kind of even looks like chicken. So you can fool the kiddos, you know what I mean? If you want.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could try.
Yeah, you could try.
I know it's hard.
Put that ranch on.
Yeah, the ranch usually gets kids. Yeah, I know kids might be a little resistant to trying chickpeas, especially it's different than your traditional kid food. But if you roast them and get them a little crunchy and season them right, all I tasted in this was the buffalo and the ranch and the toppings. So I think it would be a great idea for kid lunches as well, or even, dinner time for the whole family. And kids love to dip. Yes. I saw that from Megan. Yes. I know most kids love ranch. If you add ranch to anything, kids will eat it. And this would be great for them too. We need them to get protein. I know a lot of kids tend to eat things like peanut butter and jelly or chicken nuggets. So this is a great recipe to add to that repertoire for the whole family. So I don't want to make anybody talk if they don't want to, but does anybody have any other ideas on what you could substitute for buffalo if you're not a fan of hot sauce, or if you have kiddos who are not necessarily into something that's spicy other than maybe barbecue? I wonder if anybody has any other thoughts.
So I'll come off mute. Hi, Katie. It's Kim Mahaffey.
Hi, Kim.
My kids actually love chickpeas, especially as like an Italian pasta salad. So we use chickpeas instead of the pasta. So I feel like you could do some kind of Italian or maybe even like a Greek variety and put it in a wrap too.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great idea. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Now that you got my brain flowing, yeah, you could use, if you're looking for a shortcut, you could use some light Italian dressing. Those are often made with olive oil in them. You could use a Greek dressing, or you could just season it well with Italian seasoning, whatever you prefer. Yeah, there's so many different ways you can modify this recipe to really meet the needs of your audience, of your family, which is great. Other toppings that I was thinking of too, other than lettuce and tomato, could be chopped up peppers. If we sauteed the peppers over on the stove top, some peppers and onions, that might be really good as well. And it's a fun way to get more vegetables added to your dish. All right. So does anybody have any other questions for me at this time?
So one thing that is really cool, and we talked about cooking for kids, but also just cooking for ourselves. This was a simple but quick meal to make. So we started about 5 after 12, and Kate was done at about 12:21. So it's really simple and also a quick and fast meal to make. We're all on our grind and everyday, hustle. So
yeah.
we want to make sure that we have some quick and easy, but also meals that are beneficial to us, with the fiber and with the amount of protein that we need during the day. This is a really good recipe to do.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out, Todd. Yeah, it was real quick, really easy to make. I only needed a couple of different utensils, a couple of different ingredients. A lot of the ingredients I already had on hand, thankfully. I think if you're trying to get your child involved in cooking as well, this would be a great way to introduce that to them. You pouring the chickpeas on the stovetop, stirring them, adding the ingredients. It's very kid-friendly all around. And like Megan said, it is super affordable. I know if you procure food from food pantries, a lot of times they already have canned chickpeas. I've been to more pantries recently that are carrying hot sauce, which is really great. So you can already get some of those ingredients there, or for very little cost at the neighborhood grocery store as well. Yeah, so all around, this is a quick, easy, and low cost recipe that I feel anybody would have success doing. Just a few takeaways. We wanted to try to make half of our grains whole grains during the day, which is where the whole wheat tortilla comes in, which is to get that fiber. We want to vary our sources of protein, so not just eating one specific type, so mixing up your lean proteins, so that's your chicken, your fish, your lean pork, as well as having some red meat in there once or twice a week as well to get that iron, if you choose to. And something I like to share with my clients is try to make one meal during the week to start plant-based, or like a meatless Monday type meal. And this would be a great easy way to do so. It's beneficial for your health, for the environment, and just makes your protein intake well-rounded as well. Awesome. Well, I want to thank you all. We're at the end of our time. I want to thank you all for joining me today. Like I said, I have one coming up again next month on, I believe it is Wednesday, May 4th at the same time. The recipe I will be making then are the no-bake energy bites. I'm sure we're all familiar with those. Another great kid-friendly recipe. So if you are able to, please tune in then. And thank you so much. If you need, or if you have any questions, please just put it in the chat. I can also put my email address in there as well, and feel free to send me over any questions you may have.